All the engines on the island of Sodor were very excited. There was going to be a big banquet at the Scottish castle. Henry loved going to the Scottish castle because on the way he passed his favourite tree. The tall pine tree towered above the rest of the forest. Henry loved seeing the pine tree standing tall and proud. It makes him very happy. Henry arrived at the Scottish castle. The fat controller was waiting for him.
The castle's flagpole is old and about to break. I need you to collect a new flagpole at the docks in time for the banquet.
Yes, sir,
said Henry. When Henry arrived at Brendam Docks, he couldn't see a flagpole anywhere. He looked around for something tall. He looked at an old ship. It had a tall mast. He looked at Cranky. Cranky was very tall, but Henry didn't see the flagpole on the flatbed till it was too late.
Oh, sorry, matey. I didn't expect to see the flagpole down there. It's not that tall when you lay it down on the ground.
Henry felt very silly. Soon, Sir Topham Hatt arrived. He was very upset.
This is a disaster. The Scottish castle will not look the same without its flagpole.
Henry was very sad. It was all his fault.
Maybe seeing the tall pine tree will make me feel better.
But nothing could make Henry feel better.
I wish I hadn't broken the flagpole.
Henry sighed.
They could make a new flagpole out of that tall tree,
Toby suggested. Henry looked up at the pine tree.
The tall pine tree? Absolutely not! I will not allow it!
And Henry huffed away. The next morning, Henry had to take some workmen to the forest. Henry was very surprised to see the workmen carrying axes and saws.
Oh no!
Moaned Henry.
They're going to cut down the tall pine tree!
Henry puffed through the countryside.
How will I save the tall pine tree?
Henry said to himself. Then Henry had an idea. He didn't take the workmen to the forest. He went to look for a new flagpole. Henry saw a flagpole holding up a windsock at the airfield. But that flagpole was much too short. There was a tall flagpole on the beach, but it wasn't tall enough.
Bother!
Wheezed Henry.
I'll never be able to find a new flagpole on my own.
That night, Sir Topham Hatt went to see Henry at the sheds.
Henry, those workmen had a very important job to do. You have caused confusion and delay.
Sir Topham Hatt said sternly.
Tomorrow you will shunt trucks in the yard and Edward can take the workmen to the forest.
Henry felt very upset. The next morning, Henry was sulking in the yard.
Who can help me find a new flagpole for the Scottish castle?
He asked himself. Then Henry saw Donald and Douglas across the yard. They were carrying buntings and decorations for the party.
Donald and Douglas, they're Scottish, they can help me.
So Henry puffed up to the twins.
Hello, Henry,
said Donald.
What brings you here?
Said Douglas.
I am struggling to find a new flagpole for the Scottish castle. I was wondering if you two could help me?
We'd love to help.
We'd do anything for that wee Scottish castle.
Henry was about to burst in excitement. So Henry, Donald and Douglas all puffed away together to look for a flagpole. The trio puffed through the countryside. They soon arrived at Brendam Docks. Holidaymakers were taking pictures of the old ship. They all looked up at the tall mast.
How about that ship's mast?
The twins suggested.
It's to be chopped up and used for firewood, me hearty,
said Salty.
But it will be perfect for a flagpole. Then you best take it quickly.
Cranky soon lowered the mast on Henry's flatbed, and Henry raced off to the forest. He had to get to the tree before they cut it down. When Henry arrived at the forest, the tall pine tree was still there, and so was Sir Topham Hatt.
Please don't cut down the tall pine tree, sir. I think the ship's mast will be perfect for a flagpole.
Cut the tall pine tree down? I wouldn't even think of it. The workmen are only here to collect some firewood. We always have a roaring fire at the Scottish Castle banquet.
That night, the Scottish flag was proudly hoisted on the old ship's mast. It looked wonderful.
Thank you, Donald Douglas. This wouldn't have happened without you.
Aye, any time, Henry.
Long live Scotland!
Said the twins proudly.
Hello, it's me, Henry. Thanks for watching. Okay, goodbye.